Lessons Chapter 3, The Dancing Mermaid. Coral loved living under the sea. She raced dolphins and sea lions. She swam with schools of shimmering sardines. She teased sharks and spent the summer splashing in the surf. But Coral had a secret wish. She wanted to dance. Every evening she watched the humans whirling and spinning at the dance hall, and she longed to join in. Coral looked down sadly at her tail. How can I dance without legs, she sighed. I'd give anything to change my flippers for feet. As she swam past Neptune's palace, Coral had an idea. Perhaps the king can help me. With a thrust of her tail, she darted inside. Coral entered the throne room nervously. Her tummy felt as if it was full of butterfly fish. And what can I do for you, young lady? Boomed the king. Well, your majesty, Coral began, I'd like some legs, please. Legs? Repeated the puzzled mermaid king. Mermaids don't need legs. Coral told the king about her secret wish. At first he looked helpful, but Coral begged and begged. I will grant your wish for 1 week, he said. Then you must decide whether to keep your legs or your tail. Coral wanted to dance more than anything, so she agreed. King Neptune pointed his magical trident at Coral's tail. A sparkling swirl shot out, and the next thing she knew, Coral was standing on the beach. She tried to run to the dance hall, but her new legs took some getting used to. After a lot of practice, Coral walked into the hall. The crowd began to whisper. Who was the beautiful stranger with the silky golden hair? Soon she was swept off her new feet by a handsome young fisherman called Dan. They spent all night gliding and whirling around the floor. Coral had never been so happy, but she soon found out that life on land wasn't as good as it looked. Walking was a lot more tiring than swimming. Fish weren't so much fun when they were stuck in a bowl, and Coral's tail had never felt as sore as her feet. But dancing with Dan was the only thing that made it worthwhile. Coral told Dan her amazing secret, and a week later they went to the rocks to meet the king. Neptune rose from the waves. So what is your decision? He asked Coral. Legs or tail? Coral had missed her ocean home more than she enjoyed dancing, but she had fallen in love with Dan. Legs, she murmured faintly. The king looked at Dan. And which do you think she should choose? He asked. Dan was in love with Coral, but he'd seen how sad she was on land. Tail, he said. Coral was heartbroken by his reply, but the king smiled wisely and whispered another question into the fisherman's ear. Dan grinned and nodded. I think I have the solution, said the king, and he lifted his trident. A magical cloud streamed around the pair. The next second, Coral was back in the sea. She had a tail instead of legs, and so did Dan. Let's try underwater dancing, said Coral, and they swam off hand in hand. Personally, I think this is my favourite story out of all the books in this one.